Hi. I don't know why I didn't notice it before I uploaded my review, but my Joker 2 review just starts out so, alright, as some of you know, I'm trying to jump scare folks. Try to start these videos off a little softer like, hello. But this is my spoiler talk video for Joker 2. Joker Folie. Adieu. Was that more accurate? It's the best you get from me. Though we all know the actual title is Joker Folie Adieu. This is also your spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I suggest you stick around and save yourself a few bucks. Regardless, I am going to spoil the movie, and as always, it's not going to be a play-by-play, just talking about some things that stood out to me that's in the spoiler territory. So the movie starts out, I guess I could have talked about this in my spoiler-free video, but it's going to lead to spoilers. Arthur's in his dungeon of Gotham, and he's really not saying much. He's kind of silent, which still did kind of feel like Joker to me. You look at Dark Knight Returns, Joker hasn't talked. Granted, in this movie, there's no Batman to cause this vow of silence, but I suppose it does illustrate the fact being silence makes one more mysterious. Because regardless as to where the movie's going to go, he still felt like Joker in these instances. I was always waiting for that moment. That Hannibal moment where it's, oh, he's quiet, he's a model citizen, he's not causing any problems. And then someone gets too close, he just bites their face. I don't know, would have been a pretty sweet moment. Would have gone against what this movie is illustrating, so let's move on. But this movie was pitched as a Joker Harley movie, and though it's kind of, what's her name in this movie? Lee? Quinn said like Harley? Quinn said, is it? Anyhow, Harley and Joker, I shouldn't even call him Joker, he's Arthur. Harley and Arthur meet, and when I was watching it go down, my thoughts were consistent as to what I thought when I saw the trailer. She's already in there, she's already crazy. It is, I don't want to use the word accomplish, but it is more of an accomplishment for the Joker to corrupt a doctor than it is like, hey, crazy lady, who's obviously a huge fan of mine, wanna, I don't know, hang out? Of course she's going to. She's a super fan who's in Arkham, though there is a reveal in here. The reveal being the backstory she gave him was all bullshit. She actually voluntarily committed herself in order to meet him. Her dad's a doctor. She was actually working on her psych degree. So, you know, it's still kind of there. I did appreciate the fact that there is that nod to her actual origin story. Though in a flip, she's the one manipulating him. Because let's face it, the Harley Quinn origin story, like Suicide Squad's probably the last time we'll ever see it on screen. It's seen these days in the Hollywood circles as problematic. Harley manipulating this mentally ill patient, yeah, that's fine. So then she's like, hey, let's hang out, let's bang in your cell while you're in solitary. Though that's when she puts makeup on his face and then he doesn't have the makeup. So I was like, was he imagining that? But then she's like, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant. So apparently he didn't imagine that. Otherwise, she's just swinging for the fences of, I'll bet you he hallucinated me in his cell. It's kind of a Hail Mary, but I'm gonna say I'm pregnant. But then the next scene you see him, he doesn't have makeup on, so maybe, I don't know. This is what happens when they do what they bragged about doing. I saw reports about how they were like, yeah, we'd have a script for the day and we would just throw the script out and do our own thing. Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of fun, and that can lead to iconic inspired moments, like in the first movie. Can also lead to a complete and total clusterfuck, like this movie. And to be fair, the trial of the Joker could actually be a really cool movie. This could have been amazing. But it comes across as such a disjointed, uninspired mess. And maybe, I'm just theorizing here, but maybe it's possible Todd Phillips didn't want the comparison the first movie got. A lot of people were like, yeah, Joker's king of comedy meets Taxi Driver. Maybe this time around he was like, no one's gonna compare this to anything. It's gonna be its own thing, and I'm gonna write it. And after seeing Joker Folie Adieu, maybe he should have ripped off One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest meets Primal Fear. At this point, I'm like, yeah, feel free to borrow. When the courtroom stuff starts going, the defense is Joker is another personality inside Arthur Fleck's head. Arthur doesn't know what he did. And I feel like the movie is executed in a way where it wants the audience to humor that idea, to have that mystery of, oh, is that the case? But I was never on that ride because I saw the first movie. Even the little cartoon at the beginning of this movie that primes the audience to humor that just never landed with me. I was like, but that's not it. To be clear, I don't think that's actually what's happening. It would kind of be ridiculous, but the construction of the movie almost makes it look like that's what's happening. Just another case of, I don't think this movie knows what it wants to be. I don't think Todd Phillips knew what he wanted to make it. Zazie Beetz' character is back, which I was like, didn't she die in the previous movie? Which, he killed 5 people, 6 including his mom. So let's count them out. The 3 Wall Street guys on the subway, Randall, Murray, his mom, but also the doctor at the very end. I mean, when he was walking away, he had the bloody footprints. The implication is that he killed her. But if the kill count is 6, not 7, Well, I guess she lives. I guess she didn't die. Guess he just stepped in red paint at the end of the last movie. Zazie Beetz' character, again, was almost implied, but there's wiggle room there. She didn't die. Though her character has so much more information than she probably should have had. She's talking about how Arthur's mom would talk with her about Arthur. Granted, Penny Fleck was crazy too. Maybe they were just in the elevator like, so, here's the lowdown on my son. Just dumping on her. I could see it. As much as that's all possible, it came across in the movie as we just needed all this information about Penny and how Penny actually viewed Arthur, and they just, well, had her know it. When Gary took the stand, best scene in the movie. It's not even close. Gary, the little dude who lived, that's actually one of the most intense scenes in the first movie, because you just don't know what's gonna happen to this dude. And Arthur goes, you were the only one who was nice to me. Kisses him on the head, lets him go. So it's kind of flipped when he's on the stand. Gary starts talking to Arthur, and he's like, you were the only one who never made fun of me. And basically, you traumatized me. And that's the moment you see the whole Joker thing is bullshit, is when it actually starts affecting Arthur. And he's like, no further questions. I was like, oh, you care. Joker wouldn't care. Is this gonna be bullshit? Yeah, it was. At the end of all the courtroom stuff, Arthur's become his own lawyer, and he's making his closing statements, and he's pretty much like, look, there is no Joker. It's just me. April Fool's, audience. Sorry you wasted your time. Oh, that was funny. We got him. Nervous laugh while you cry in private, and then when there are people around, fake it till you make it. If I wanted to see people fake confidence, I'd get TikTok or a dating app. I've never actually seen a sequel. Not since Highlander 2. Anyway, have I seen a sequel so try to undo everything the previous movie did. In the end, yeah, Arthur Fleck dies. He's confronted by this other inmate in Arkham, this character who just was looming in the background, staring a few times. He tells him a joke and says you get what you fucking deserve and just shanks him until he dies. Then as Arthur's bleeding out on the ground, camera zooming into his face, you see the guy blurry in the background, but he's taking the knife and he's carving a smile onto his face. That's right, that's the real Joker there. This Arthur guy was just a sad guy in makeup. Again, was always a possibility in the online conversations, but now we know. Unfulfilling? Yeah, like it's some guy who stabbed him. A Joker that was called Joker wasn't actually about Joker. It was just Arthur. Him cutting his face implies that he'll have a Joker smile like Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight, which doesn't really make sense. Again, that's what he borrowed from right there. Todd Phillips was like, I'm not gonna borrow from anything. Except Heath Ledger's Joker from Dark Knight. I'll borrow from Nolan. But he can't actually be that Joker. He's too old. Joker takes place in what, 1981? This is 2 years later, so 1983? If Heath Ledger's Joker is comparable to Heath Ledger's age, he would be what, 4 in this movie? This dude's way too old. Doesn't make sense. Also, the Todd Phillips Gotham and Arkham compared to Christopher Nolan's just, they're two different worlds. So him cutting his face, you would know who he is, but there's no way that's Heath Ledger's Joker. Funny thing, it's also very circular in a very pointless way. Arthur starts out in Arkham, meets Harley Quinn, goes to trial. There's a whole bomb that goes off in the courtroom. He escapes to talk to Harley, and she's like, look, it was just a fantasy. No thanks. The cops pick him up. He ends up back in Arkham. So what was the point of all that? He ends up at the end of the movie where he started out at the beginning of the movie, and he gets shanked in the hallway. This could have been a 5-minute Joker DLC scene on YouTube. Arthur's sitting there watching cartoons. Oh, you have a visitor. He goes, gets stabbed in the hallway, guy cuts his face, and that's where the saga ends. We're gonna go ahead and save $200 million with the rest of the bullshit. We'll just give you this. It's a serviceable fan film with big stars at that point. Also, Brendan Gleeson was great. Brendan Gleeson's always great. So yeah, the movie's disjointed, it's shoddy, the ending's unfulfilling, the musical numbers just exist to get Joaquin Phoenix in the makeup. In fact, anyone he ever, quote, kills happens in his imagination. What, no revenge on the guards? Why not have him just be Joker and he meets Harley and they actually fuck shit up? Have him stand trial, have him be convicted, have him get the chair. But if you want to see him pay for his crimes, have him go out as the Joker. But this movie does make you think, like, does Todd Phillips regret doing the first Joker movie and he just wanted to do this to undo it? We're in this weird time where studios and filmmakers are like, so let's just troll the fans that actually built this thing up. Hundreds of millions of dollars on their own private joke, their own way to stick it to fans. It's so strange. But this movie did unite the people, the fans and the critics, whereas the previous film was very divisive. No one seems to like this. Well, in this divided day and age, that makes it mighty. Joker Folie adieu. Shows exactly why Joaquin Phoenix does not do sequels. And officially, when you hear reports that movies get these long standing ovations at film festivals. I guess at the Venice Film Festival, this movie got an 11-minute standing ovation. 11 minutes. You know how long 11 minutes? Clap for 11 minutes and tell me your hands don't fall asleep. Tell me the last thing you witnessed in life worth that. And if you have something, ask yourself, well, did you do it? Did you clap for 11 minutes? No? Exactly. Yeah, this is definitely one of those movies at the time of filming this. It's only been a couple days. I already hate it more. And that's going to be consistent as time goes on. 2 weekends in a row of complete and total vanity project nonsense. These movies could have a pay-per-view match. So Joker, Folie, Adieu. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? I think I already asked you that. Or what are you saving your money for if you're not watching this? Or you know what? What's your favorite Joker? On-screen, comic book, any of it. But whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.